8 persons, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H, all of them who face north direction, but not necessarily in the same order. So basically 8 persons have to be arranged in a straight line, and I think the easier part is all of them are facing north, right? It actually gets complex when we find that some of these guys face north and the rest face south. They're finding out the left or right becomes complex. But the fact that all these 8 face north shows us that it's not very difficult with respect to the directions there, right? Now what happens when persons are facing north? When a person is facing north, his left is to be taken towards our left and right should be towards our right. And when a guy is facing south, the left should be towards our right on paper and right will be on our left. You can watch our video on linear arrangements to get a detailed understanding on this. But the simple point is, if it is north, left is left and right is right. When it is south, these two get interchanged. Now, all of them stay on different floors, right? All of them stay on different floors, which are 2nd, 6th, 10th, 15th, 20th, 30th, 31st, and 32nd. So I guess you've got 8 persons and 8 floors, right? But not necessarily in the same order, right? And that is it. So why is it so complex? 8 persons and 8 floors. So this is how it goes: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So these are the 8 positions which need to be filled with the name of the person and the floor number. Now look at the first clue given to us, right? It says D is 5th to the left of the person who stays on 20th floor. D sits 5th to the left of the person who stays on 20th floor. Now, we have already understood that persons are facing north, so left has to be towards our left and right has to be towards our left, right. And the point says D is 5th to the left of the person who stays on 20th floor. Now understand that there can be 2 different possibilities here, right? Assume that the guy on 20th floor is in this position, right? He sits on the extreme right. Now D sits 5th to the left of the person who stays on 20th floor. So go to the left of this person who's sitting on 20th floor. Like I've said, left is always towards our left and persons are facing north. So D is 5th to the left. So 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, right? 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. So D has to come in this position, right? D sits 5th to the left of the person who stays on 20th floor, all right? Now I'm trying to take the names of the persons on top of the row and their floor numbers at the bottom of the row so that we don't get confused, right? I mean, we'll just follow that convention, right, or whatever you call it. So D sits 5th to the left of the person who stays on 20th floor. I just verify this once again: 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now that's not the only possibility, right? The same thing can happen in multiple ways. If at all the guy on 20th floor is shifted by 1 position towards left, D is also shifted by 1 position towards left. And then if you shift this guy by 2 positions towards left, so gets D shifted by 2 positions towards left, right? So these are the 3 different possibilities that we have, and I'm sure we need to consider all these 3 to be able to get the answer, properly. Now there are different ways of approaching this problem, right? There are some students who say, why don't we just try out with this one case and quickly see if it satisfies all the conditions? I would not suggest that, because usually it so happens that towards the end of the solution you figure out that this is wrong, and then you have to start over again from the beginning. So the best way to deal with these questions would be to just try out all the possibilities from the beginning, right? Fill all the gaps that you get to know from the data points given here, and then see which of those possibilities are wrong, and finally be left with the correct one. All right, so we'll just do the same thing here, right? So D sits 5th, and then there's also one more point which you need to look at. Is this the right way to start the solution, right? Just because the first clue given to us is D sits 5th to the left of the person who stays on 20th floor doesn't mean that we start with that, right? You can find out an alternative statement given there, which could be a better start. So doing one reading of these points also is helpful sometimes, right? So the next point, let's look at the next point. I mean, before we try out the other possibilities, let's see if there's something better over there. The person on the 20th floor does not sit at the extreme ends. Now see, the very next statement tells us that whatever we have tried out is wrong, right? The person on the 20th floor, the person who's on the 20th floor does not sit at the extreme ends. We have already considered 20th floor guy at the right end, which is the rightmost end, which is one of the extreme ends. And this is supposedly not allowed, right? The guy on 20th floor cannot be sitting at the extreme ends. So the first case is ruled out immediately, and now we are left with only 2 of the cases. So let's try that out, right? I think I'll clear this up because I'm sure we'll be running short of space towards the end of the solution. Remember that the 20th floor guy cannot come at the extreme ends. So I'll take 2 possibilities, right? 8 positions. Now, the fact that 20th floor guy cannot come here, we can consider him here. D is 5th to the left. First, second, third, fourth, and 5th. D comes here. Then maybe this 20th floor guy is in the third position from right. And 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. D has to come in the extreme position, right? So that is it. These are the only two cases we have. Now look at the next point. There are two persons sitting between the one who stays on 20th floor and F. The next statement says there are two persons between the one who stays on 20th floor and F. So 20th and F should have two places in between. Now if you look at case number 1 here, you cannot, now remember when we say there are two persons between 20th floor and F, there are actually two types of possibilities. It can be 20 dash dash F, which means two persons between 20 and F in that sequence, or it can be F dash dash and 20, right? Usually I've seen students fail to realize this point, right? I mean, there are two persons between X and Y will lead to two possibilities. It can be X dash dash Y or Y dash dash X. So both these have to be considered in each of these cases. Now, if you look at case number 1, since 20th floor is already at the second position from right, you actually cannot consider the first case here. So F has to be towards the left of 20, right? And then the only way to do that is this, right? There are two persons between 20th floor and the person F. And even in the second case, the same thing holds true, right? F cannot be taken towards the right of 20th floor because we don't have enough places left over. So F has to come in this position. Next, the person staying on 6th floor sits second to the right of G. Now, try and understand. The person who's staying on 6th floor sits second to the right of G. In this statement, we are talking about two parameters. One is 6th floor and G, and none of these have been plotted already on the diagram here, right? We have neither marked G, nor did we mark 6th floor anywhere. So, this statement is not useful immediately, right? Of course, it will come in use later on, but it cannot be of any use now. So, just skip that and move to the next point. Next statement says G is not an immediate neighbor of D. Now, this could be helpful. G is not an immediate neighbor of D. G is not an immediate neighbor of D. Means what? G cannot come in these two positions, right? And in case 2 again, G cannot come here. Will that help us use the previous statement? The person staying on 6th floor sits second to the right of G. Alright, if you see, there's one more point here which says G does not sit on 20th floor. There's a lot of data with respect to G. G does not sit on 20th floor. So G will not come in this position as well. And I think now that 3 of the positions are eliminated for G, we can try out the previous one, right? The person staying on 6th floor sits second to the right of G. Try this out. Person who stays on 6th floor is second to the right of G. Now look at case number 1. We have already found that G cannot come in the first position. Second position is already blocked by D. Third position is eliminated for G. Fourth one is blocked by F. Now what if you take G in this position? We know that the person who stays on 6th floor is second to the right of G. So if G comes here, second to the right of G, first and second, this has to be 6th floor. But if you observe, this is already blocked for 20th floor. So G cannot come in this position as well. You're getting it? If you take G in this position beside F, the guy who's in 6th floor has to come in this position because he's second to the right of G. But that is not possible because it's already blocked by 20th floor. Try taking G in this position. If you take G here, what happens? The person who's sitting on 6th floor is second to the right of G. So G comes here, first and second. The 6th floor guy has to come here. And G anyway is not allowed in this position and G cannot come in this position. So we have actually verified all the positions for G and found that the only way to place G is to take him on third from right position, right? And which gives us 6th floor here. Now do the same thing very quickly for case 2 as well. So D and F, these two are already blocked. G cannot come here. What if G comes here? If G comes here, let me just write it, right? G comes here, then 6th floor has to come here. But then this has already been blocked by 20th floor, so not possible. Can you take G here? Yes. If G comes here, the guy on 6th floor has to sit here. Can you take G in this position? No. We have already for some reason marked here that G cannot come in this position. So G is eliminated. I mean, G cannot come there. And you cannot consider G in the last two positions as well because that pushes 6th floor guy out of the arrangement. So the only way to place G here is as follows, right? Take G in this position and 6th floor guy, as mentioned in the point, is second to the right of G. So first and second to the right of G. Let me clear all the other garbage here so that we, right? So we are done with this. Next point. Look at the next point. The difference between numerical values of floor numbers of immediate neighbors of G is 10. Now this again is interesting. I don't think we have ever used this kind of a data in solving questions and puzzles, right? He says difference between the numerical values of floor numbers of immediate neighbors of G is 10. So basically the immediate neighbors of G, If you take their floor numbers, the difference has to be 10. Now we already know that from both the cases, one of the immediate neighbors of G sits on 20th floor, or he's from 20th floor, right? In both the cases, in fact, you see. Now the only question is what floor number would come here in this position such that the difference between these two is 10, right? That's what the statement says, right? The difference between the numerical values of the immediate neighbors of G, of the floor numbers of immediate neighbors of G, is 10. Now look at the floor numbers given to us: 2nd, 6th, 10th, 15th, 20th, 30th, 31st, and 37th. Now, since the difference given here is 10, it's very easy to identify what can be the value that comes in place of question mark. Can it be 2? No. Can it be 6? I mean, just take the difference with 20 and you'll figure that out, right? So 2 difference 20 gives you 18, 2 difference 6 gives you 14, not possible. 2 difference 10 is 10. So this is likely. 2 difference 15 gives you 5. 20th is anyway one of the immediate neighbors. 20 difference 30 also is 10. Oh, I think I've been reading it out as 2. It's not 2, it's 20. Let me just, do that once again. 20 difference 2 is 18, so that's not possible. 20 difference 6 is 14, so that again is not allowed. 20 difference 10 can be considered. And then again, in a similar fashion, 20 difference 15 gets eliminated because the difference is 5. 20 and 20 cannot be considered. 20 difference 30 is also possible. So I think these are the two possible values. You can do the similar verification for other two floors as well. So the only two values which can come in place of question mark here is 30 or 10. Both of them give you a difference of 10 with respect to 20. And then let's consider both of them. I'm not interested in taking multiple cases. Let's say it can be 10 or 30. Now I'm sure you may ask me a question. Should we duplicate these cases? Take 10 in one case, 30 in the other case. Similarly, duplicate this case, take 10 in one case and 30 in the other case. I would say no, don't do that, because the fact that you've already marked so many parameters here, you can deal with both the possibilities in the same position, right? I'm sure we'll figure out which one is correct there based on the points given next in this paragraph, right? So don't try to duplicate this. That's like creating unnecessary possibilities and wasting your precious time. So just move to the next statement now. The person staying on 10th floor is not an immediate neighbor of F, and that clears it out, right? The person who's on 10th floor is not an immediate neighbor of F. So this 10th floor guy cannot be a neighbor of F. That's it. So this has to be 30th floor, right? Now 2 persons are sitting between A and the person on 10th floor. 2 persons are sitting between A and the person on 10th floor. Again, the same problem. We have got A and the mention of 10th floor in this statement, and none of these two have been marked so far in the arrangement, right? A has not been put and 10th floor has also not come into picture, right? The person staying on 10th floor is not an immediate neighbor of F. Yeah. So neither A nor 10th floor have been marked, and that makes it difficult to use that statement, right? The only point that we can make out is that 2 persons are sitting between A and 10th floor. Again, remember, A dash dash 10 or 10 dash dash A. This is what many of us fail to realize, and that's what makes it complicated, right? All those who have not been able to crack this initially, I'm sure we're stuck in something similar to this. Look at the next point. Neither F, so we'll come back to this later whenever we feel that it could be useful. Look at next point. Neither F nor G is staying on 10th floor. Neither F nor G staying on 10th floor. Now since we already have F and G marked here, we can say that these two guys cannot come on 10th floor, right? Neither F nor G stays on 10th floor. So that will help us eliminate some of the possibilities when we try to verify this point. More than one person sits between B and the person staying on 2nd floor. Now this also is not useful immediately because it's mentioned about B and 2nd floor, which are not there in the graph so far. The floors on which C and H are staying are higher than the floor upon which A is staying. The floors on which C and H are staying are higher than the floor upon which A is staying. Where is A staying, by the way? A is staying on which floor? We have no clue about that. Chalo, so let's move to the next point, right? Not to worry, just move to the next point. C is not an immediate neighbor of D. C is not an immediate neighbor of D. Now this also is useful. We know that C is not an immediate neighbor of D, so C cannot occupy these two positions, right? And here C cannot come in this position. One person is sitting between B and the person staying on 31st floor. One person sits between B and the person staying on 31st floor. So done. I think what we have done so far is just one reading of the given data and arrived at whatever we have arrived at, right? You can see that D, F and G have been marked with floor numbers 30, 20 and 6. And then a lot of other indicators like C cannot be a neighbor of D, F and G cannot be on 10th floor, and a lot of statements which have not been used yet. So what we'll do now is go for the second reading and try to fill the gaps. All right. So I mean, like our usual convention, anything that has been underlined has been used. So don't waste your time in reading that again. Just move to something which has not been used so far. Now, two persons are sitting between A and the person on 10th floor. Try this out. Two persons between A and 10th floor. I'll just make it a little clear here, right? So two persons between A and 10th floor. Let's give it a shot. Let's see where will this fit. Okay. I think we've already used this as well. I'm just trying to clear up all this unwanted stuff so that we don't get confused, right? This has to be used. Two persons between A and 10th floor. So I'm trying to verify this now, right? Let's quickly do that. So two possibilities of two persons between A and 10th floor, and we have got two cases. All these have to be verified. So let's start with this A dash dash 10. See what happens. If you take A in this position, where will 10th floor come? 10th floor has to come for F. Is that possible? Not possible. So this is the advantage if you do a clear, if you mark everything very clearly. We have very clearly marked that 10th floor cannot come here, right? For F and G. Similarly, 10th floor cannot come here for F and G here. So that makes it easy to verify. So A dash dash 10. If you take A in this position, dash dash 10, not possible. So ruled out. A of course cannot come in second position here since it is blocked by D. Can A come in this position? Try this out. A dash dash 10 again ruled out because if 10th floor comes here, we will be violating one of the conditions given earlier. So A cannot come in this position. This has been blocked by F. Can A come here? Try it out. If A comes here, where will 10th floor go? A dash dash 10. Is it possible? No, because this floor has been blocked by this position has been blocked by the 6th floor guy. However, the other point that we need to consider is 10th floor can also be on the left of A. What we have considered so far is 10th floor being on the right of A. But if at all you take A in this position, dash dash 10 is ruled out, but dash dash and 10 here is possible. You understand? There are two different ways of doing it. So that's one possibility. In fact, yeah, that's one possibility that we have. A in this position and 10th floor coming here. Try out the other things as well. A cannot come here. Can A come in this position? If you take A here, the only way to take 10th floor is on the left side. So A dash dash 10, but that's not possible. Again, for the same reason that we've checked earlier. And if you take A in this position, it has to be dash dash 10, but this floor has been blocked by the 30th floor. So the only way possible for A and 10 here is to take A in this position and dash dash 10. You're getting it? Do the same thing for the second case as well. Try it out very quickly. So A dash dash 10 is not possible. A dash dash 10 is possible. And A dash dash 10 is not possible. So that's one way of doing it, right? A can come here with 10th floor going for D. This is of course, already blocked by G. A dash dash 10 not possible. A dash dash 10 not possible. Can A come here? A dash dash 10 again not possible. And can A come here? Dash dash 10 not possible. Yes, the only way to do it is A coming on this floor, this position, and 10th floor is for D. Right? I would clear everything about 10th floor now so that we are not. So that basically it looks neat. But don't do this drama in the exam. You will not get extra marks for your presentation, right? So this point is done. Two persons are sitting between A and the person staying on 10th floor. I think we are close now. Move to the next statement. More than one person sits between B and the person staying on 2nd floor. More than one person sits between B and the person staying on 2nd floor. Now we have no data about this. The next point said that floors on which C and H are staying are higher than the floor upon which A is staying. And we already know that A stays on 30th floor. Look at this. A stays on 30th floor. So now try to verify this statement. The floors on which C and H are staying are higher than the floor upon which A is staying. See, we know that A is on 30th floor. Now look at these floor numbers here. What are the floor numbers which are higher than 30? The only two floors that we have are 31st and 37th, right? C and H are staying on floor numbers which are higher than the floor on which A stays. A stays on 30th floor. So the only possibility for C and H is to take up 31st and 37th floor. Now one important point there we have is C and H should be going for, basically I'm repeating the same thing. Let me verify where will it come. So C and H have to take 31st and 37th floor. So try out what all is possible there. See, you got to understand that Okay, I'm not going to say that again. Let me just write it here. C and H will take between 31 and 37. Now, what sequence is not known to us? If C takes 31st floor, H will be for 37th floor, or vice versa, right? If C goes on 37th, then H will go on 31st. But one important understanding that you must have is, we have neither marked C or H so far in the graph or in the diagram there, and nor have we marked 31 and 37. Now, we are looking for two positions where neither the person has been placed nor the floor number. You're getting it? We want two positions, two blank positions, two completely blank positions. Neither the floor number has to be there nor the name of the person, because if any one of those are there, then these cannot be fit, right? So just try and find out or identify such places in these two cases. Now, if you look at first case here, we already know, see, this is a blank place. This position has neither got the person nor the floor number. However, we know that C cannot come in this place. So this is ruled out for C. Similarly, this is anyway blocked by both floor number and the name of the person. Look at this position. Both are vacant, right? Name of the person is not there, floor number is also not there, but then we know that C cannot come in this position. And when you move towards the extreme right, there are two positions which are vacant for the names of the person, but the floor numbers are already blocked. Now, this is the challenge. Can we put C or H here? Not possible, because if you put C here, C is, allotted floor number 20, but we know that C either takes 31 or 37. And similarly, if you take C on the 6th floor, we are going against the condition. So the point that I'm trying to make is, one is we need to look for two positions where neither the name of the person nor the floor number is mentioned. And we have no such place available for C in case number 1. There are two places which are, vacant from both the ends, right? But then both of these are not allowed for C. So clearly case number 1 is wrong. And now don't panic that one of the cases is eliminated. That's what we want, right? The earlier you figure out which case is wrong, the faster you'll get the answer, because now we'll have to verify these conditions only in the second case, right? Now try to do the same thing for case number 2. We are looking for two positions where neither the name of the person nor the floor number is marked. What are those two positions? 1 and 2. In all the other places, either the name or the person is there. Sorry, either the name or the floor number is given, right? D10, F, but then we cannot take 31 or 37 here. G, 31 or 37 is not allowed. 20 and 6, C and H are not allowed. Now these are the only two places. Look at this. C cannot come here in this position, so obviously C has to come here. And if C comes here, then H has to come here. Floor numbers will decide, but then I'll say 31, 37, and yeah, 31 or 37. Okay. Now try out the other points. One person is sitting between B and the person staying on 31st floor. One person stays between B and the person staying on 31st floor. So this will help us. There's one person between B and 31. Now look at this. By any chance, if you consider this to be 31, where should B come? B should be coming in this position. You understand? If you consider this to be 31, B has to come in this position, but this is already blocked by A. So B cannot come here. The fact that B cannot come here shows that this cannot be 31st floor. And if this is not 31st floor, then this has to be 37th floor. And this being 37th floor tells us that this is 31st floor. You're getting it? The point given here was there's only one person between B and 31st floor. Now, if you consider this to be, that's the only assumption we can make, right? Either this is 31st floor or this is 31st floor. Let's assume that this is 31st floor, the floor on which H, the floor which H belongs to. If that is 31, then B has to come in this position. There's no other way out. But that's already blocked by A. So B cannot come there. If B cannot come here, indicates this is not 31. This has to be 37. And this is 37, then this is 31. And the fact that this is 31 tells us that this is floor number, this is for B. Why? Again, the same point. One person is sitting between B and the one who's staying on 31st floor. Done. I think we are done with all the persons but one. Who is that person? A, B, C, D, F, G, and H. So E is missing and E has to come here. And two more floors have to be fixed. The one statement that we have not used so far is this. More than one person sits between B and the person staying on second floor. So there should be more than one person between B and the guy who sits on second floor. So can second floor come here? No. There have to be at least two persons between B and second floor. So second floor cannot come here. It has to come here. And if second floor comes here, whatever is left out has to come for G. What is that? We've got 2, 6, 30, 20, 10 and 31 and 37. 2, 6, 30, 20, 10. Yeah. So 15th floor is left out, which has to go for G. And I think this gives us the final arrangement. If you want, you can verify all the statements once again, right? All the statements have to be satisfied in this arrangement that we have got. But that is only a waste of your time, right? Don't do that in the examination. So that's the final arrangement. And now answering those 5 questions is going to be a cakewalk, right? I mean, only this part takes time. Now you can answer the 5 questions easily. So let me quickly present the questions to you all. So here's the first one. H lives on which floor? H lives on which floor? H lives on floor number 37. So done. Move to the next one. How many persons sit between A and E? How many persons sit between A and E? Between A and E here, we have got 2 persons. So this is option 1. Look at the next question. Who among the following sits on the immediate left of the person who lives on 15th floor? Immediate left of 15th floor. What is immediate left of 15th floor? Immediate left of 15th floor is person A, option 1, and that's done. Then move to the next question. Who among the following sits immediate left of the person who lives on... Okay, I think the same question has come again. Sorry. Who among the following sits third to the right of F? Third to the right of F. F is here, third to the right of F. First, second, and third. Third to the right of F is B, which is this one. Right? And I think there's one more question. No more questions. So done with this, and